Well, sadly, this time of the year, particularly, there are a lot of drownings that happen within Orange County and beyond. It happens year-round, but particularly here. We've got a couple guests on today. One, Larry Kurtz, Captain Larry Kurtz, PIO with the Orange County Fire Authority, and a returning guest. She's been on before, Alexa Pratt, who's the educational specialist, and we're going to talk about that. The whole statistics behind that. And we're going to get to that in just a moment. But beforehand, we're going to talk to you about something that's ongoing right now. And you sent us some photos yesterday. The sand fire that is up in the Santa Clarita area, right? And how you folks, meaning the Orange County Fire Authority, along with other mutual agencies, are up there helping out, right?
That's correct. And again, thanks for having us on the show.
Yeah.
Orange County Fire Authority has over 95 firefighters currently assisting up north on the sand fire. We have 3 strike teams. What that is, it's each strike team consists of 5 fire engines. So if you think 15 fire engines. We have a hand crew, a 20-man hand crew. We have our dozer operations up there, and we have our helicopter operations up there. The mutual aid agreement throughout the state of California assists agencies in times of large fires like the sand fire is going on right now. Mm-hmm. What we have is agreements with these other agencies. If they have a large enough fire, we agree to send X number of apparatus or personnel or dozers or helicopters to assist them with their fire. Conversely, if Orange County has a fire, like for example when we had the Freeway Complex fire or the Santiago fire, if you want to go back that far, even the Laguna fire, if you want to go back even further back in '93. Yeah. What we can do there is they actually give us additional members from their organizations to reinforce our numbers. Some of these fires can take upwards of 3,000 to 4,000 people to fight. Right. It is a large endeavor to put some of these fires out, and we're very grateful to the organizations that help us out in our time of need, and this is our way of returning the favor to them. They're out there. Everyone is safe right now. They're starting to get a handle on things. It's a very large fire, but we're very glad to help our partner agencies throughout the state of California.
And we want to stress, because you talked to me about this yesterday, that when you, meaning Orange County Fire Authority, are out helping other areas, including you folks have gone up to Northern California, Orange County is still protected. They're still safe. It's not like everyone's left the county.
That's correct.
Yeah.
People ask, oh, you said all the fire agents out of town. Who's covering Orange County? No, we have plenty of resources in Orange County to cover our own dirt. Whenever we have any kind of a situation that has. We always keep units behind. We always keep units in reserve to reinforce our numbers just in case we do have an incident within Orange County. Now, if something does happen, for instance, during some of the other fires that have occurred, we have had strike teams out of the county. We can actually request to get those resources back, and those incident commanders are very good about kicking them loose from those fires so they can get back home here quickly and help us out with the firefight.
All right, very good. I'm going to turn to Alexa here and talk about a situation that sadly happens all too often. Not only in this county, but obviously around the country as well. And for the most part, it can be prevented. Of course, we're talking about drownings. And I remember seeing the statistics from last year, how many drownings there are, and sadly, a lot of them become fatal. And what's remarkable, we often hear about that for kids. And when that happens, of course, it's devastating. But what's surprisingly is how many older adults this happens to as well, right?
Yes. So a lot of times when we think of drowning prevention, it's children, watching kids around water. But as our statistics have shown, the majority of incidents involving drowning are children under 5 and adults 50 and older. And the other thing is, typically, in incidents involving children, they survive. The fatality rate is pretty low. But for adults 50 and older, even 65 and older, those incidents often result in fatalities.
When it happens with adults, is it often because they are alone?
Yes. Okay. So that's our big message that we push towards adult seniors. They've been swimming for years. They know how to swim very proficiently. But what they fail to do is swim with a buddy or let someone know that they're swimming. So if something were to occur in the pool in the water, such as a medical condition, they have a heart attack while they're swimming, if they've been drinking medication, if something were to happen in the water, no one is there to help them.
Right. I know we have a video that you gave to us. Now, does this have sound, or we're just going to roll it in the background?
I don't believe this has
Okay,
sound.
so we'll just kind of roll it here and talk about it as it goes on. And I want to stress here, this is an educational video, and this looks like this was probably up at your event that you usually have up in the headquarters, right, every year? Or is this somewhere else?
That's our open house.
Okay,
This took place at a community swim center in Irvine.
Yes.
And as the video progresses, there's, want to stress, this is a training, so it's a mock video, a mock drowning, I should say. But it starts out, as it always does, very innocently. The little girl here is just having fun in the water, right?
Yeah.
Right. What we want to stress during these, and again, this is a mock drowning exercise. This is not from an actual incident. What we want to stress is that although adults, frequently are alone when they have these situations occur to them, the drowning situations.
Okay.
It doesn't just happen when they're alone. It can happen in very crowded pools where no one really notices what's happening. And it's surprising how people, like for example here, no one seems to notice the child floating in the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, many people think that if someone's drowning, they're going to be waving their arms, screaming, yelling for help, and that doesn't actually happen. If someone is drowning, physiologically, their hands are going to be down under the water, trying to kick themselves, pushing themselves up and out. And as they're trying to gasp for breath, they're probably inhaling water, which means they're not going to be able to scream and yell. So it is very silent. They're going to slip under undetected. In
a situation like this, when there are a lot of kids in the water, it could have been they're just playing around and some, a kid got kicked in the head or something, innocently enough.
Right.
Or they're all kind of jumping on each other and one goes down and just doesn't have the ability to get back from underwater quick enough, right?
That is correct. Rough housing is a major part of it. Also exhaustion. Sometimes they don't understand, the limits of their strengths. And that's just not in the children, but in older adults as well.
Right. Yeah, and the point with the older adults that you made, what is the kind of percentage there? Is it beach or pools as far as the drowning goes? I think the beach communities, we're talking about going out in the ocean, of course, is a little bit more, I don't want to seem callous, but it's a little bit more understandable. The undertow comes in, the rip current, they get pulled out. But in a pool, as you said, quite often they are alone and something happens. It can be anything. They could just be getting out of the pool and they slip and fall back in and hit their head on the side, right?
Yeah, and it does happen. So last year, according to our statistics, about 60 of the events occurred in pools, in spas, swimming pools, and then about 30 occurred at the beach. So we are seeing mostly pools and spas where these drownings are occurring.
Okay, and I think we have another video we're going to show here as well along the same lines. And the last one, of course, showed the children. And this other one, I think, this one's more about adults, I think.
I believe this one is also children.
Oh, okay, all right.
But as you talk about the ocean and the pools, people are aware a lot when they go to the ocean, when they're in the water of the ocean. They're aware of the danger factors that are associated with that. They see the things about rip currents and tides, and a lot of them stay in the shallow ends of the water. Swimming pools and spas and even small kiddie pools, the splash pools. Those, they feel safe. There is a safety factor involved in the back of your head. You think, what could happen to me here? This is my pool. This is a safe location. This is back in my home. And that's I think there's a mental aspect there that people need to keep in their mind. The water doesn't care whether it's the ocean or pool water.
Yeah,
it'll do the exact same thing.
And you brought along something we've seen this before called Water Watcher, and explain this to us and what this is all about.
This is our Water Watcher tag, and we've actually responded to a lot of drowning incidents at parties, barbecues. There's a lot of adults around, and because of that, everyone thinks that someone else is watching the water, kids in the pool. So if you're wearing that tag, you're responsible. There's a little pledge on there that says, I'm a designated water watcher. I accept responsibility for the kids in the pool, and that means that I'm going to be actively watching. I'm not going to be distracted by cell phones, magazines. Serves as a reminder. And then all other adults, if they're present, can see, okay, someone's wearing the water watcher tag, someone's watching. And then we ask, after 30 minutes, an hour, you rotate. You pass it on to the next adult. Or if there's no other adult around and you have to take a cell phone call or go inside the house, everyone gets out of the water.
And you brought along a life jacket here. Obviously, when families go out, maybe boating or something, you want one of these. But I often see this now in pools as well, some of the community pools in our area. And, it's a great thing to have, but the child still needs to be watched. And along with that, I know at least in the pools where I live, there are a lot of flotation devices parents bring, and even we did in the past, and they won't allow. And what they say is, those aren't approved flotation devices. Even they're basically toys, the noodles or whatever they may be, or the water wings, and they don't allow them anymore, at least in our community pools. The life vests, of course they do, right?
Yes, so we recommend for adults and children, if you aren't comfortable in your ability to swim, you want an extra flotation device, don't rely on the pool toys or even the floaties that are inflatable, anything inflatable, because those can pop. Children can easily slip them off if you're not really actively watching. Yeah,
and before you go further, these, I want to say, they aren't really expensive. You can find these at Big Five and Target and places like that.
Costco usually has them during the season.
And I believe they usually, what you want to look at in the back is that there's an approval here.
There's a Coast Guard certificate.
So it's a U.S. Coast Guard approval number.
I'm going to turn this here, see if we can get this here. But this is something, if you're out looking for a life jacket, you want to make sure you look for, right?
That's
and there it is.
Very important.
And right there you can see it's approved for the size. You can see the sizing on it, the user weight, and so on. But that's really important.
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely. And again, they can be found many different places and
everywhere.
things like that.
Online, pretty cheap as well. So as long as it's a U.S. Coast Guard approved life vest and it fits nice and snug, that's what we recommend for, again, adults and children.
All right, very good. So keep that in mind. Where can they pick up these? At any fire station?
Any OCFA fire station has those. Yes, you can also go to our headquarters on Jamboree and Tustin Ranch and pick those up.
All right, very good. And I think we have a couple of these at home that I've gotten over the years, so I appreciate that. But again, the key thing is when you're around the pool, two key things for adults and for kids: don't swim alone. And also, when you have a pool, a bunch of people around the pool, we're fortunate we have great lifeguards here. But if you're elsewhere at a family gathering, pick out one person. You don't need this badge, but maybe make up your own or something and say, you're on shift right now, and you stand by.
When you're wearing this tag, you are committed to watching the water. You become the lifeguard.
Yeah.
We don't want you updating your Facebook status. We want you out hunting Pokemon. With your smartphone.
Yeah.
You should be watching the water at all times with this.
Yes, definitely. Nice to see you again.
Yeah,
we
nice
hope to have you back. And Larry, always good to see you.
Thank you, sir.
And we'll let you go when you're off duty, play Pokemon.
All righty.
All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
All right.